have developed speed, but we have shut ourselves in. Machinery that gives abundance has left us in want. We think too much and feel too little. More than machinery, we need humanity.
We know the air is unfit to breathe and our food is unfit to eat. As if that's the way it's supposed to be. We know things are bad, worse than bad. They're crazy.
Silence! The great and powerful Oz knows why you have come.
You've got to say, I'm a human being. God damn it. My life has value.
You have meddled with the primal forces of nature.
Don't give yourselves to brutes. Men who despise you, enslave you, who regiment your lives, tell you what to do, what to think, or what to feel, who drill you, diet you, treat you like cattle, use you as cannon fodder. Don't give yourselves to these unnatural men with machine minds and machine hearts.
And now, Reality Rants with Jason Bermas.
And who loves you? And who do you love?
Hey everybody, Jason Bermas here, and I'm just asking some questions. Today we're going to be talking about transhumanism, predictive programming, how Hollyweird and pseudo-academia have sold us on this idea for some time, and we're going to do so through an old school clip from the Discovery Channel from Adam Savage via the show MythBusters. Now, this clip I'm going to show is well over a decade old and really probably closer to 20 years old. And look, here's the thing. MythBusters was a cultural phenomenon for not only my generation as it entered into adulthood, but the generation before me and after me as well, through the rise of basic cable, right? A lot of people forget this now, but there was a time when there was only a dozen channels, and then when that jumped up to, 50, 60, almost 100, we were given these networks that in large part, in their beginning, in their inception, were in fact educational. Some of my favorite networks out there back in the day, the History Channel, TLC, the Learning Channel, and yes, the Discovery Channel as well. Let me just say this about the Discovery Channel today. Investigation Discovery, which is a subset of that, actually still does some good work. Now, a lot of it is driven by basic true crime, but at the same time, they have done some of the best documentary work on Epstein. They have done great documentary work on John Wayne Gacy. The Clown and the Candyman is something that really I cannot recommend enough. However, my biggest issue with all of these networks is how they have shifted not just into the realm of sensationalism, Johnny nonsense, flipping homes, bad reality shows, that type of stuff, conjoined twins, the stuff that really isn't educational whatsoever. It's that all three of those networks also push a narrative that is pro-war. They all push a narrative that is pro, quote-unquote, ancient alien. Okay? They also all promote a very real transhumanist agenda. Okay? They're about as establishment as it gets with just about everything. And, it morphed, again, from when I was watching stuff on World War II and its history and the Nazis and the occult, to the fact that now I buy these on DVD wherever I can find them, because they're nowhere to be found anywhere else. So this clip in particular is based on the idea, again, that you are going to be able to upload your consciousness. And there's some other sub-ideas out there as well that are completely and totally absurd. And you know what else is absurd that I didn't mention about those narratives? They all push Bigfoot also. Think about that. They all push Bigfoot. They can't get enough Loch Ness Monster. They love the UFO videos. And what narratives are they pushing? Establishment, Johnny nonsense narratives 90+% of the time. So we're going to get to that Adam Savage clip in a moment. I do want to thank everybody out there that has supported the broadcast via the links down below. I can't do it without you. The Buy Me a Coffee is a great way to do it. Dr. Chick Abramson, thank you so much for that very generous donation. Adam, thank you. DS for Real 2176, thank you. X Gazane listening, thank you. Thank you, guys. Again, couldn't do it without you. The other links are down below. Remember to thumbs this video up, subscribe, share, comment down below, ring that bell for notifications, and of course, check out the alternative options to watch this broadcast, including checking me out over at X. You can follow me over at X, where we are actually, let me just do a little dicka-dicka-do, where, as you can see, we are live and streaming right now, okay? So without further ado, let's hit this clip of Adam Savage promoting transhumanism and this idea that we are going to transcend our biological body and upload our consciousness to some kind of digital wonderverse, some kind of cloud, maybe even a metaverse.
Curiosity is presented by Nissan. Innovation for all.
This is my meat locker. This is actually where I keep all of my old bodies in cold storage. I got bodies for every kind of occasion there is. I think this one is my track and field body. Runs really fast, but that's not what I want to show you. What I want to show you is the first body, the old me. Come here. It's this guy right here. This is the body that I was born in. This is Old Faithful. You might call it my Model A. Check this out. Look at that. That is 100% earth-grown bio vessel, my original. You know what? I'm gonna try it on. It's been years, but it seems like the perfect occasion. Let's see how this feels. It's been a long time. I haven't worn this thing in hundreds of years, and I'm starting to remember why. It feels so, puny and kind of weak. I never get used to that. It is really hard to believe that when I was born with this.
So that's about it for that clip. Now, there's a whole show on this. I just want to go over the multitude of deceptions that are just right in this thing. Number one, you notice how the transhuman version of Adam, where you see like a little bit of the metal, he's in the cool Matrix type jacket. He talks about it being a meat suit. It's always a meat suit. And then when he finally gets into his meat suit, who he hasn't been in hundreds of years, as if you can preserve a biological body through some kind of cryogenics for hundreds of years obviously hasn't been proven. There's obviously huge problems with cryogenics as well. And again, it's so weak, I feel brittle. They're constantly selling you on the idea that these things that we are in are weak. All right, now, in this one, you notice, and I think it's because of the time period, really, they're selling you on the idea that you're going to have better versions of yourself. But even now, through the metaverse and this idea, they're pitching you on other physical forms. And really the idea that you can become anything. Because once you get beyond even transhumanism into what I would refer to as posthumanism by Ray Kurzweil, when he's talking about us becoming beings of light that can transcend the entire universe or multiverse, then we're no longer talking about human beings and the ability to take on any type of physical form. Now, even in that, where they've got like the science fiction, the head's going to pop out and then some hologram kind of thing. No, but what they openly talk about, Kurzweil in particular, is the idea of using bio-nanotechnology and having billions of these bio-nano devices within our bodies that completely and totally shut off our nervous systems and replace that with a virtual universe. Again, that's Kurzweil, not Jason Bermas. So you could have some type of bio-nanotech that is micronized. Will it ever be conscious? No, I don't believe it will. It might be a, cheap replica of consciousness, but will it ever be conscious? No, not in my opinion. Now, when I saw this, it reminded me of a show that I watched most of the first season. There are only 2 seasons out there. It's on Netflix, I think, to this day. Altered Carbon. And essentially, this is a show that also kind of gives you this idea that these meat suits are interchangeable, that you can not only constantly upload your consciousness, but store it in like this very small crystal mechanism, right? And the only way you actually really die is if that crystal mechanism, which is usually based in the bottom of the skull, that's the only way you really die. And it's this whole plot of these, extremely rich people that have lived for a very long time, literally living in the clouds above everybody else. And one person in particular, I think it's something like every 5 or 10 minutes, uploading their consciousness to a satellite in case something happens to their body, which it does. And then, this rebirth idea. So if you haven't seen Altered Carbon, it is somewhat interesting. Now, I want to hit on just a couple other things about MythBusters and about the establishment line that they often tell. Number one of the things that I will never forget, and look, I'm not making this a debate about the moon landing, but I certainly did watch their moon landing hoax episode. Hard to believe this is all the way back in 2008 now. I mean, wow, we're well over 15 years. And I remember watching it and just thinking to myself, man, that's a straw man argument. That doesn't really prove anything. There was always all this talk of vacuums and the thrusters. I mean, I thought it was a really poor episode, to be quite honest. And I just want to say this. I'm all about the scientific method. I mean, when I was a kid, we're pre Bill Nye the Science Guy, us 80s kids, born in 79. And we were into Mr. Wizard, right? And I watched Mr. Wizard on Nickelodeon all the time. And I love those type of experiments. And I'm not, taking a hot, steamy dump all over MythBusters. And I'm not even saying that some of those shows didn't have merit. But let's go to another little MythBuster, really quick. And I remember when this happened, I was just like, ugh. Former Mythbuster goes on McDonald's French fry fact-finding hunt. And you can still watch it. You know, they did this, what I would call a propaganda piece, telling you how great McDonald's French fries are when it came out that there were 19 ingredients, right? So he actually went through and hammered all 19 of these things and acted like, oh, it's fantastic. Hey, McDonald's fries are fine. 19 ingredients for French fries? Folks, I worked at, and we're going to give them a little shout out, worked at a place called Brooks Barbecue. Okay? You know what the ingredients were for the French fries? Potatoes. Wait, let me repeat that. It was potatoes. Yeah, anybody who's worked in an actual restaurant where you serve actual food, I'm not talking about like a Chili's or an Applebee's where everything's prepackaged or whatever, where you do actual prep work in the morning, knows about this thing where it's a lever. It's a potato lever, okay? And you put the potato in this little thing. It's got a grate on it, and then the top of it pushes it down, and the potatoes come out. And you would do this over a large-scale sink with water in it. Some people would put some salt in there. That was not a thing, I believe, over at Brooks. And essentially what you're doing is you're trying to get all the starch out. So these potatoes would soak in water for several hours, and then from there to the fryer. So they were potatoes. They didn't have 19 different ingredients, and I didn't have to try to do mental gymnastics to think that was a good thing. Just like I'm not going to do mental gymnastics to think some, idea of me uploading my consciousness to all these different cryogenically frozen bioengineered meat suits. Because that's the other thing. They talk about, his one body as the only one that was like actually biologically born, right? That gets into the idea of Martine Rothblatt, unzipped genes, taking charge of baby making in the new millennia, etc. No thanks. Folks, we're doing the shorter videos. I hope that you are enjoying them. Thumbs this one up, subscribe, share. Remember, cannot do it without you. Once again, I want to thank those that have supported $5, $10, $15. It does mean the world to me when you buy me a coffee or you use that PayPal link down below. I would like to encourage everybody to also check out my documentary films, which are free and intended to be shared. Loose Change Final Cut, Fabled Enemies, my 9/11 films, and then my bigger picture films, Invisible Empire, A New World Order Defined, and Shade the Motion Picture. Folks, you know the drill with this guy. It is not about left or right. It is always about right and wrong. I absolutely love you guys, and we will see you all on the flip side.